Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about what is the difference between virtual environment and Docker. When I started learning Python recently, I got to know about this terminology, virtual environment. Then after learning about virtual environment, I got a question in my mind, like what's basically the difference between virtual environment and Docker? Both are doing something similar kind of stuffs only. So I researched and I studied and I was able to understand the difference between the two. This video, the reason for making this video is basically to, if you also is having a similar kind of doubt, so if you come across this video, you will be able to resolve your doubt very soon. So let's see what is the difference between virtual environment and Docker. So let's very first talk about virtual environment. So let's I write virtual environment as VNV. V for virtual, ENV is for environment. Okay, so what is this? So what happened was Python was uh, okay, let it be. I'll delete this. Okay. So very first, virtual environment. So Python was one of the earliest languages that was developed. But while developing this language, no one thought about the dependencies conflict. So how they developed this language was like they always made sure like whatever packages we are installing, it will be installed globally. Whatever be the packages they are going to install, they will be installed globally. Later on, whatever languages were discovered, like for example, like C sharp and all those things, for them whatever the packages that are installed, that is project specific. Those packages don't affect the like global structure. And even for JavaScript also, if we download some packages from npm library, those are always installed by default for the project specific. For installing it globally, we need to have a tag there. If I remember, some -g or minus global something tag is there for it to install globally for the entire local PC. But Python was developed in such a way that whatever packages were installed, that were installed globally. So the very first term which we get to know is packages are installed globally. Packages are installed globally. So this was the problem. Now why is this a problem? So suppose for example you are like you developed one Python application using certain packages version. Suppose, for example, you developed using 1 point something version. I'll show you. Yeah. Now, suppose this is Python app 1, and this has many libraries, many packages containing versions v1 of all the packages. Now, later on, I develop another Python app in the same PC, okay? In the same PC, I developed Python app 2. Now here I'm using version 2 of the packages. Again, I installed some libraries for this app specific, and that is version 2. Now again, this Python app 2 is able to build because I installed the packages again for this library, for this application, sorry. Now, what if one day an idea comes up like I want to do some changes in my Python app 1, and I go back to this Python app 1 and I build it again. Now what will happen? It will not build properly, it will break, and some or the other errors regarding the libraries or packages will occur. Why? This okay, this there is a possibility that it may occur if this version 2 of these packages are like backward compatible, then it is fine. Then the Python app 1 will work properly and perfectly. But suppose if this version 2 of the same packages that are installed in Python app 2 are not backward compatible, then what they will do is like whatever we built in Python app 1 using the same packages, it will not compile, and it will break our Python app 1. So this was the problem actually. Like we were not able to keep the packages isolated. So later on, to solve this problem, Python came up with the solution of virtual environment. What this virtual environment basically do is like it will basically isolate the packages. Now I'll do virtual environment. This is a virtual environment. This is also a virtual environment. Now what happens is like whatever applications we develop using virtual environment, all the packages will be installed locally to that virtual environment only. It will not be installed globally. So that's how Python solved this problem. Basically, virtual environment is like an isolated, it makes a project isolated from other overall PC, and all the packages are installed within the project itself using virtual environment. Like in other languages like JavaScript and all, by default the packages are installed in the project itself. Here in Python, the packages are installed within the project itself using virtual environment. So keep this in mind. Whenever you are developing any application in Python, you need to use this virtual environment. Okay, so this is one thing. Now, what is the difference between the virtual environment and Docker? Let's first of all understand what is Docker and what is the need of Docker. So, okay, second we come up with Docker. Okay, so Docker was developed. Suppose I have this PC1. This is my one PC, and this is my another PC. PC1. This has an app, Python app. It is built using some libraries or something like that. Now this PC, this second PC, this is PC2, wants to run this Python app. What you do is like, okay, my friends wants to run the same Python app in his PC. Let's call it PC2. So what you do is like, okay, just you copy the entire folder and give it to him. Done. And he runs the app. Now, if he runs the app, do you really think he'll be able to run the app? No. Some dependency issues might come. Here, the dependency issues can be he might not be having all the libraries installed. Okay, so for that, he needs to first of all, okay, let's talk about the problems. Let's talk about what problems Docker solved. What was the problem? First problem is need to install all the libraries. Second, now suppose PC1 is a Windows PC, PC2 is a Mac PC. Some library was supported in the PC1 Windows PC. Now in PC2 that library only is not supported. Like that library was not developed only for Mac PC. Now what they will do? They won't be able to run this application only basically. So what is this? OS dependency. It was the second problem. And even the OS could be like that particular library was supported Windows 8 or 10 onwards, and suppose this PC2 is running an older version of Windows, then again this app will not work. So basically, from a developer perspective or from a user or client perspective, there was a lot of like hiccups and problems involved whenever we were supposed to run up any app, not even this Python app, any app, if we were supposed to run in one PC and that same app I wanted to run in another PC, there was always a problem. If I talk about real life example, then this problem occurs in like production environments. Suppose this is my developer PC. I You might have heard of this problem also, maybe. Like I developed this app runs in my PC, but when it goes to production environment or in my some friend's PC, it this app is not working. Why is this app not working? This problem occurs a lot. Keep it in mind. I have seen a lot of these kind of production issues where the app runs in my PC and it does not run in the production environment. So because of this, we to had a lot of like brainstorming and everything. What could be wrong? What packages might be missing? What other alternative packages we can find out so that that runs in this PC? There was a lot of problem regarding this. So what did Docker do? Docker came up with an evolutionary solution to this problem actually, and that was to containerize the application. You have heard of the terms containers, those which are present in the shipments that is used to store some items, and the ships carry those containers. Similar to that concept only. What we will do is like instead of giving this normal Python app, we will containerize. Don't go into the intricacies or deep like what is container and everything. If you don't know, it doesn't matter. We are here to understand the difference between virtual environment and Docker. So just focus on this. So I make a container. Now after, so what is I basically do is like after, oh no, this is getting weird. So what I will do is like, okay, let's use this. Then again I use this. And then I use this. Yeah, perfect. So I containerize this Python 1 app into container. And what I will do is like similar to GitHub, I have Docker Hub also. Okay. There I will basically push this container. Now, what is this container? This container is basically, you can say, okay, first of all, what is this container? Okay. This container is like a OS. It has a basic image of the OS. You don't need to install or anything. I basically built that app and containerize. I have a OS running. Suppose, for example, if the Python app was built on a Windows PC, I'll have a Windows PC running in this container. If it is built on a Mac, it will have a Mac running. If it was built on a Linux machine, it will have a basic version of Linux running. That is sorted. OS running already. Dependencies present already. Okay, so these two basic problems are already there. Now what I will do is like I will push the image slash container Docker Hub. What is Docker Hub? Docker Hub is similar to like GitHub. It is a like GitHub for like containers. It is pushed. Now after pushing this container, what I will do is like I'll give the what is that called install command to my friend who is having any kind of PC, Windows, Mac, Linux, any kind of PC. I'll give the install command, just the install command. My friend take this command, download the Docker Hub image or container, and just run that image. My friend will then download the image and second run the image. Image is nothing but an not running container is called an image basically. Whatever application is containerized, na, that is called an image, and when it starts running, it is called a container basically. Okay, so I run my friend will run the image, and she has nothing to do. She don't have to install any libraries. She don't have to like have any OS dependencies also. The application will run just smoothly. That's the benefit of Docker. So it prevented the issues of runtime environments. That is basically so these problems. The solution that Docker gave was that problem that solved by Docker was time environment. Now this was virtual environment and this was Docker. Now if you see, virtual environment is regarding the libraries only. Like it should not be conflicted between multiple applications, and Docker is also doing the isolation work only. Then what is the difference between the two? Then remember, virtual environment is needed at the time of application development. You can't be dockerizing the application before you have even built the application. The dockerization part comes after you have built the application. Before that, you need to build the application, run it, and test it locally. And for that, you need the virtual environment so that it doesn't creates problem for your other Python applications. For that, you need your virtual environment so that in your development environment, basically, it does not creates any problem. And Docker is basically, you can take it as in your in your production environment, it doesn't create any problem. When you're deploying it on some other machine or something like that, it doesn't create any problem. So ultimately, what is the summary of this? You can say, let's create a final summary, guys. Summary. I'll zoom in a bit like this. Yeah. Virtual environment is for development environment. Docker is for production environment. So understood, this is only the basic difference between virtual environment and Docker. So that was all about for this video. Let me know in comments like what do you think of this explanation. If I made any mistake, do let me know. I'm always open for any kind of technical discussions or debate. Thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day. Thank you.